In 2005, I was going along to Sheffield Buddhist Centre as somebody with no background in Buddhism, and I'd read a book that I picked up completely by accident, and it had like hit me. It was like those cartoon characters where you get a bulb over your head, kind of going, "My goodness, this is true." And then, like a lot of people, it took a lot of time and process for me to actually put that in my life. That wasn't straightforward. So it actually took me a long time even to get through the doors of a Buddhist centre. But, you know, I got through the doors of the Buddhist centre, and this was a turning point for me. So I was at Sangha Day Festival in Sheffield Buddhist Centre in 2005. And Vajratara was leading it, and she said, "Now we're going to chant Maitreya's mantra, because Maitreya is the Buddha of the future, and you are all the Buddhas of the future." And I didn't know anything else about Maitreya. Like, that was the sum total of my information about Maitreya. I didn't know what Maitreya looked like. I didn't know what colour Maitreya was. He's gold. And that mantra just would not leave me alone. And it still hasn't left me alone, and now it's 20 years later. And I got ordained. I took Maitreya as my sadhana. So this is a mantra recitation and visualization practice that you take up when you get ordained. And so 20 years later, I've written a book about Maitreya, Buddha of Potential. And the thing is, it's like Maitreya, he's so big in the Buddhist tradition. It's like every Buddhist tradition that I've ever come across reveres Maitreya, Buddha of the future. He appears in the Pali Canon, the earliest records of like the historical Buddha. And there's even a sutta where Maitreya is talked about as the next Buddha. So the idea is that there isn't just the historical Buddha Shakyamuni. It's more like it kind of opens up to a cosmic vision where it's like there's history. So it's like there's ordinary people like us in whatever time and place and whatever planet, whatever country. And they're always in now. Do you see what I mean? Like Vidyamala was saying, everyone is always ordinary to themselves. The life they're living is ordinary to themselves. And then something comes into that ordinariness, which is of a completely different nature. And it's natural. So in my group, actually, we were talking a lot about how difficult it is to leave space in one's life. But then what happens is, as soon as we give ourselves some space, like, you know, we're all on this event and it's like 4 days. And we step out of our lives and we give ourselves conditions. It's like spiritual awakening just starts to emerge. It's like an acorn. Like, an acorn can't really do anything while it's like in the corner of a cupboard or something like that. But as soon as you give that acorn the conditions, you don't need to give it instructions about what to do. It's like it'll take up the water. It'll take up the nutrients. It'll open its roots into the soil and it'll start growing by itself. And that acorn will become an oak tree. And that's like us. There's something where there's our ordinary life, our ordinary mind. And we don't have a sense of what the potential is that isn't that. Do you see what I mean? It's like, if that's what you know, you think, oh, this is just what life is. This is what life has to offer. And, you know, it's like the next holiday, oh yes, great, I'll have a family. It's marvellous to have a family. A career, marvellous, I'll have a career. I'll have a house, a camper van, whatever it might be. I know, I'll get an allotment. And all those things, you know, it's sort of marvellous in its own way. And yet, you meet the conditions where your acorn can start growing. And suddenly it's like, I don't know, it's like, oh golly, I haven't planned any of this, can you tell? In the Pali Canon, these earliest stories of the Buddha, when somebody meets the Buddha and they meet the Buddhist teachings for the first time, like these, I mean, sometimes it's just meeting a person, as we have been hearing, and you're just like, wow, what have you got? What are you in touch with that I'm not in touch with? So somebody meets, say, the Buddha, and then there's this sort of stock phrases that come again and again, where this person, just in the middle of their life, says, it is as though what had been overturned was stood upright. It's as though someone took a lamp in a dark place so that those with eyes can see what was there. I go for refuge to the Blessed One, and to the Dharma and to the Sangha. So it's like this sort of response where it is like someone's taken a light into a dark place, and you look at your life and you think, is this how I want to be living? And you think, well, yes, I really want to be living in that bit. That's really important. That's really important. And then there are all these other bits where you think, is that important? Maybe that's not where I want my time and energy to go. And it is like having a light taken into a dark place. I mean, I think images that I have, which are again from the Pali Canon, are like you're in a dungeon and somebody lets you out. Or another classic one is you're in debt. You're worried about how you're going to pay for all these, your debts, and suddenly you're free from debt. You can go where you want. You're a free woman. So there are all these images for what it's like when this acorn of spiritual potential starts to grow within you. And this is what the figure of Maitreya is symbolising. So the Buddha of the future, it's not like, actually some traditions do take it incredibly literally, and you get these books where somebody's tried to work out in exactly how many thousands of millions of kalpas Maitreya is going to arise. But actually, that's not really what Maitreya is about. Maitreya is more like this moment where something new, something unexpected, something totally surprising opens up in your life. And you're blown away by it. And you know that it's important, and you know you want to follow it. So this is come and look later if you can't see it, because I'm stood in the way. There's a totally gorgeous picture of Maitreya that was painted for me by Arloka a number of years ago. And on it you can see Maitreya. Actually, he's got many manifestations, but I'm telling you about this one. He's golden, and it's this really light gold, really light, clear gold, because he's described as rising like the dawn sun against mountains. So again, you're in this rugged terrain, it's dark, you're lost, you're cold, you're frightened, you don't know where you're going. It's pitch black. And out of that blackness arises the sun. So this symbolism of the dawn sun, just like arising, and you don't know it's going to happen. And it's like, and yet it does happen naturally, just like the dawn sun rises every day, and darkness turns into like all these brilliant colours. So one of the archetypes of Maitreya is the young king. So you can see he's sat on a throne. So he's not cross-legged in meditation like lots of Buddha and Bodhisattva figures. He's sat on a throne as a king, And there's a lot of symbolism to this, which I won't tell you all about, but if you buy my book, you will be able to find out all about it. Just saying. Part of the symbolism of this legs down is that Maitreya is totally engaged in the world. So he's either described as being in the plane of the contented, just waiting to emerge. So it's like at every moment, you know, he's just waiting for the conditions, the space to appear, so that this golden light of the dawn can appear in your mind, in your ordinary psyche. So that's one level of symbolism, that he's sort of waiting elsewhere, just for the moment. And another way of seeing that symbolism is, well, you know, Green Tara, she's got one leg down, she's stepping down. Maitreya has 2 feet down, flat on the floor, grounded. You can probably see why that's important for me. And is already here. So Maitreya is also the Bodhisattva of metta, as well as the Buddha of the future, which is like the Buddha of our potential for what we could become in the future. Again, this sort of feet down, it's this very accessible aspect of metta where no matter where you are, you know, your kids are screaming at you, you're having a terrible day at work, you're in a car crash, whatever it is, metta is always available. It's like at any moment, we can always think, okay, what would be the kindest response here? What's the kindest thing that I could manage here? There's a story about how Maitreya got his name. So it's one of these mythic stories. And he was a practitioner in a city long, long ago in a galaxy far away. I'll talk about Luke Skywalker in a minute. Maitreya, who wasn't known as Maitreya at that point, his practice was the metta bhavana. And he didn't go off on retreat somewhere, and he didn't even go and do it in his bedroom or something like that. He'd go to the noisiest part of the city. He'd go to the city gates, where there was all this sort of bustle and clamour and crowds and people pushing through, and you know, everyone would pass in and out of the city gates, and that's where he would sit to do the metta bhavana. And it's said that the power of his metta was so strong that everyone who passed, everyone who came through the city gates was touched, could actually feel the power of his metta. So it's like metta having an effect in the world, and it's us in the world having that effect, bringing metta into our everyday situations. I mean, personally, I just don't understand why everybody doesn't want Maitreya as their yidam, right? You know, so, I mean, it's just baffling to me, but anyhow. And yeah, so that's me. I've got 5 minutes now to wrap up. So there's, right, I'm wanting to go in 2 directions. Right, let's do the young king direction first. So this is like, he is this Luke Skywalker myth. Or the young King Arthur is the other myth, where it's like, so Luke Skywalker is growing up on this dusty planet called Tatooine, and he's just got this completely ordinary, boring life, and he has no idea that he is the last of the Jedi Knights, and he has no idea that he has a connection with the Force. And then the whole process of him awakening to realise, in a sense, like his birthright, or what, you know, he always had that potential but he never knew. It came as a surprise. And the same with King Arthur. You know, he's just growing up. He's got no idea that he's the child of Uther Pendragon. And, you know, he goes along to the tournament as the squire to Kay, and then Kay forgets his sword and Arthur has to go and find it and can't get in, and then has to pull the sword out of the stone and has no idea who he is, and then realises he is rightful king of all Britain. And again, you can see it's the same as the dawn sun archetype. It's like we are all children of the Buddha. We all have this potential for awakening. We all have this acorn that just wants to grow. And we don't realise it. We don't know. So Maitreya is this realising our potential erupting into our life, into the ordinariness, whatever it is. Okay, so clearly I could carry on talking for a really long time about Maitreya. I really won't stop. So I probably need to stop because Parami definitely has a puja she wants to do.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I know. But for the rest, you'll have to read this book. But Maitreya, Buddha of Potential. Lots more, all about, like, it's metta from the Vajra family, so it's like wisdom aspect of metta. Anyway, so many different things that I clearly don't have time to tell you about. But if you don't know about Maitreya, you are so missing out.